So you must have prepared your foreign exchange rate chapter for board examination. Let us understand whether you will be able to answer the questions CBSE based pattern and application based as well. Okay, so let us begin. So this is how you'll be given with a case study. Okay, what is happening here in the case study, if you read it, they are saying that rupee in green currency rises 9 paise to 90.25 against US dollar. Okay, so what they mean to say here is $1 was of 90.34 INR, which has changed to $1 equals 90.25 INR. This is what they are trying to say. Okay, the very basic understanding is fewer rupee for dollar, right? Fewer rupee for dollar. Now this is the case. Now let us understand it with the help of an example. Suppose you purchased, let's take an example of a mug, right? So if this mug is of $2, if this mug is of $2, according to the old rate, if you would have purchased this, okay, so you would have paid 90.34 INR, okay, which means 180.68. And according as per the new rate, now you would pay 20 into 90.25, which will become 180.5. So it is clearly seen that earlier you were paying more amount of money with the old rate. With the old rate you will have to pay more amount of money, although with the decrease in rate, when the rate has decreased for foreign exchange, now you can get the same mug at lesser price. Okay, so basically now you pay less. Okay, when we pay less, we will be happier, correct? We will be happier. So which means that we have strong currency. And why are we paying less? Because we have strong currency. Strong currency means our value has appreciated. If we can purchase more with the same amount of money, or if we are paying less than before, which means the amount has been appreciated. Okay, now question number 1 related to this. After understanding what has actually happened with the currency, which is appreciation, now you can answer the questions. Okay, the very first question could be, what are the possible reasons behind it? Okay, that the rate has appreciated for us, what can be the possible reasons behind it? Okay, such appreciation. So in the news article, it expresses the current scenario wherein people are very much uncertain about the market sentiments. Okay, and whenever there is positive market sentiment, if you talk about India, if there is positive market, or in any other global economy, if there is any positive sentiment, that other investors are going to spend more in the country. Okay, other investors are going to spend more in the country, which means we come to second reason, which will be the trade deal optimism, right? If we apply this to the current scenario which is going on, that everybody is hoping for some trade deal optimism, right? Everybody is hoping for some positive trade deals, right? Because of so much of high tariffs being imposed on India. So if there is some optimism that we are signing a deal with Europe nation, or we are signing a deal with other countries, any optimism on this front will give us a better edge, which means it will give us some positivity for investors. Okay, so this can be another reason. This either you know it yourself, that you write it down, or if you read the case study which is given to you, you'll be able to draw certain reasons even from it. So half is your knowledge and half is the application part. Okay, now let us talk about the second question. Second question could be that you were asked to explain what will be the impact on inflation in our country. Okay, so what will be the impact on inflation? Since before answering this question, you will have to explain what will be the impact on imports and exports. Okay, imports and exports. In order to answer what will happen to inflation, we'll first explain about the import part. Now with the help of the example of mug, we have seen that now we can purchase more. Now we can purchase more, which means imports will increase. And when, because now our money can buy more goods, our money has become stronger, so it can buy more goods and services. We have to pay lesser amount of INR in terms of any other currency. Okay, here that is dollar. So imports will increase, and when import increases, exports will decrease. Okay, because now for them INR, for them the same dollar will purchase lesser amount of goods. Okay, lesser amount of good, the worth of dollar has decreased, so they will purchase less. So exports for us, it will be the sales which will decline. Now we will connect this import and export to inflation. What all do we import? We import consumer goods. Consumer goods are the goods which are consumed directly by the consumer, and we consume producer goods. Okay, so now think about it. If a producer is getting any raw material at cheap prices, okay, raw material, in this case it can be oil, it can be machinery, it can be equipment, okay, and get raw material at very cheaper rates. Okay, what will happen to the cost of making of the product? What will happen to the cost of product? The cost of product will also decline. And if cost of the product decline, prices in the market for goods and services will also decline, which means it will make goods affordable. Okay, with this respect, the inflation can be checked, with it corrected or checked or decrease. Okay, will be checked. Okay, which means that this is how it will impact our inflation part. Even for consumers, because now they have the worth of money. For consumers also, the worth of money has increased, which means that purchasing power has increased, and now they can purchase more goods and services from the same amount of money. Okay, same amount of money, which means even with the help of this, we have understood the impact on inflation is that the inflation will overall decrease. Okay, also be asked to talk about the negative impact. Okay, the negative impact of the same, negative impact of the same, wherein we are talking about the appreciation. Okay, negative impact would be when imports are increasing, we are purchasing more, we just said that exports will decline. Okay, exports will decline. When export declines, our sales, our net exports, okay, will decline. And you know, net exports is a component of AD, wherein we take consumer, investment, government, and whatever is export minus import is net exports, right? All of these are the components of aggregate demand. So which means because of this has decreased, this will directly impact AD will also decline. If aggregate demand will decline, which means our incomes will also decline. Okay, if aggregate demand is declining for producers, what will happen? They will earn lesser income. If they earn lesser income, the national income will also decline. So this will be the impact, this will be the negative impact of the same. Okay, now let's talk about D part of it, which will be the impact on foreign exchange demand supply curve. Impact to be shown, okay, shown as curve, as on curve of demand and supply. So let us understand how are you going to show this in your demand and supply curve. Okay, since it is appreciation which has occurred, okay, appreciation will occur only in two cases. Either demand for INR has increased, okay, when investors all around the world, they purchase more of INR, which means they demand more of INR. Okay, so that is one, either this has happened and that is why our currency becomes stronger, or second part, opposite of it, may be the supply of dollar. the supply of dollar has increased, or maybe the supply of dollar has increased. So there are two ways in which you can actually show it on the curve. Okay, the first way is like you draw the foreign exchange market. Okay, so if you draw foreign exchange market, this is foreign exchange market, which means this is the demand curve of dollar, this is the supply curve of dollar. So this is foreign exchange market, where we are taking dollar's price as, let's say, 90.34. Okay, now let us say, because this is dollar's market, so what has happened to dollar? The supply has increased. So you will have to show that how supply must have increased. So because of increase in supply, it has happened, right? So this is how it will show me. This is how you will represent it on the curve, that now the amount must have come down to $1 equals $90.34 has come down to 90.25. This was my earlier equilibrium. Now this is my new equilibrium. So this is one way of showing it. The another way of showing it is you can make the demand and supply curve of Indian currency. Okay, Indian currency, which means this is the demand curve of India, this is the supply curve of Indian INR. Okay, you will now write $1. Okay, $1. Earlier we took exchange rate, $1 equals 90.34, 90.25. Now we are taking $1 as, and at equilibrium, this is my $1. Okay, for Indian currency. Okay, this is the market of Indian currency. So the demand might have increased. Okay, so let us increase the demand, and this is how I get new equilibrium, which means if I say that this is equal to 80 INR, this is 80 INR, whatever will be the case. Okay, now this has increased to $2, which means earlier $1 is equal to 80, now $2 is equal to 80. Now $2 is equal to 80, which means $1 has become fallen to 40. $1 has become fallen to 40. This is again appreciation for us. Okay, so these are the two methods in which you can show that how this might have happened. What might have happened? Either the demand for INR must have increased, either the demand for INR must have increased, that it shows us this is how the value has decreased, or it may be due to supply of dollar has increased.